Hey, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be our fourth video on the Entex 16 scale 31 Model A, and we are going to be doing all the body work in this episode. So we have to start with this body, which has this big crack in the back. That's actually where we're going to start, and then we have to glue the two front posts back on that hold the firewall on. I'll show you that in a second. So yeah, everything's coming along really good so far on this kit. I'm super happy with it. Now that crack, it just cracked right down. I guess you can see that in the camera a little bit. It went right where the mold, right where the plastic got injection molded. I don't know if that's seam where it came together or where it started to flow out. I'm sure some of you guys have injection molding experience. You'll probably tell me what happened there. But easy enough. Just gonna run the glue along the back of that. Let that set for a second. Cover the face, kind of press it together a little bit. Okay. And there's that. So, easy enough, right? Okay, so I already cleaned up all the edges on this. Now luckily, these are all dusty where I cleaned them up. Actually, that needs to be cleaned up a little better before I start gluing. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. So I'm going to start with that. So on the instructions, it says the firewall so you start with the firewall and glue the dashboard to it, but because this thing's busted up, I have to glue it to the body first. You have to do this step here first. So it's going to be a tiny bit out of order, but not enough to cause a problem. With there being no doors and stuff on this, I mean, you can see that you're getting back here to everything fine. So let's get started on this. I'm going to start with, geez, this thing is just... That was weird. That thing was just not going to be clean. So I'm just going to put a little bit right there. Make sure that goes on right. And that rolled in a little bit, which is fine because there's actually a little nub right there I need to sand off. Geez, I did not do a good job on this. Kind of embarrassed, to be honest. Okay, so there we go. And then come back in and do this part here. These all line up. Okay, let me take this off. Okay. Okay. Again, clean all that up. Good. Okay, there we go. I'm going to glue this right here and put some glue on that right there. And then I'm going to glue this to here. And that right there. Okay, and then I'm going to test fit up this door to make sure that, yep, everything's lined up correctly. Okay, beautimous. Now I'm going to come in glue this together. That's really all this is. It's just it's like a version of known quantities. You know where that's at because it's still the kit, and so you just put that together, and then you know where this goes because the way, luckily the way it's broken, it's not just straight sheared across, so that made that pretty easy. And just come in and start building on itself, and easy peasy. And then this needs to be let's see, this side needs to be cleaned up. Okay, and then this glue on right there, and we'll be good. We'll be really good. That goes on just like that. Ah, dang it. Should have maybe worked this side over before I really got on it with that side, but that's okay. It went right back on. Tiny little amount of glue will sort that side out. Okay, there we go. That thing started to look like a Model A already. Test fit the doors again. Everything lines up. Yeah, boy, everything lines up perfectly. Okay, so that's all looking good. So let's just let this sit for a while. Make sure that glue is absolutely solidly dry. And then we'll come up with a game plan on what we're going to do with the rest of the kit. Or the rest of the body, not the rest of the kit. Alright, so we are going to put the windshield in here, the windshield frame, because that needs to be painted. That needs to be painted the body color. And then we're going to put the sun visor on because that needs to be painted the body color. And first I wanted to say there's a little tiny, I don't know if you can see it or not. Yeah, you can. Little tiny nub right there. That's what mounts the windshield wiper to it, so that's got to face outside. So just put that on like that, and then you can see it. There's a little space underneath the windshield. That's fine. When the dash goes on there, it fills it up from the back, so that's okay. And speaking of filling it up from the back, that's actually how we're going to glue this in. It's a little daub in that corner. Oh, no, that didn't work. Okay, let me line that back up. So there's a little recess right here that it fits in. It's actually really well engineered. This might take me a second to get done, but it's certainly not gonna give me any problems. Okay. And then a little bit there, and then we'll just run a whole bead across the back of that. Line that up. Okay, and then like I was saying, the dash will come in here and cover that back edge up. So there you go. Okay, so that's that. And I decided to glue this on because of the way the top works. I think it'll be easier to paint and glue both the excuse me, I think it'll be easier to paint this and get it glued on to the model in like this. I mean, you can see how that just goes on, and then when I paint the top, the flat black, I can just mask just that off and then run just the masking tape along the bottom here, and it should all line up and look really sharp. Okay. Okay. Okay, there we go. Make sure it's got the same Same amount of reveal around it, and it does, and that looks good. Okay, so we are good with that. That leaves us with this. We're going to do a real rough in sanding here. You can see I've got most of it taken care of. There's a little spot right there and right there. So the nice thing about this kit is it's got that rear mounted spare tire. So if you put the bracket on there and you put the tire on there, you're going to notice that not a whole lot of that's going to be super visible. But the problem is that's a double-sided sword there, because that is going to bring a little bit of visual interest to the back of the car. So people are going to be looking, so you got to make sure it's as good as you can make it. So that's just barely in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just leave this. Yeah, I'm going to leave that as is for right now. Because I do have a trick to show you for doing those. So we are going to okay. I had to come in and knock off some injector pin marks and stuff on the side of that. So I got that all cleaned up. It's looking really good. I'm happy with that. The nice thing about this is it just mounts right on the back of that body. It's kind of self-centering, self-leveling. Just got to make sure that line matches the body line and you're good to go. Okay. I had to work with the doors a little bit to get them to fit. They're not 100% square, but we got that taken care of. So I'm just going to tape those in, and we'll come back in and we'll get the body on this thing painted. So while we're doing the paint, we will work on a bunch of this other stuff that needs to happen. Now the dash I'm just going to do in gloss black. So I'll get all this stuff. Well, actually, I'll get this off to paint, and then I'll come back and I'll show you my little trick to this. I'll show you my paint prep for this, and then we'll send everything off to paint. And then while that's drying, we'll put the dash together, and that'll be coming up next. So I'm going to show you a little trick on how to fix that crack. You just come in and fill it in with a little bit of primer there. I don't know if you can see that or not. You can still see a little bit of the crack hazing through, which is fine. Alright, sorry, I forgot I had that turned on. Anyways, you see I did 2 heavy coats over that line. Now I'll let that dry for a while, and we'll sand that back down, and what'll happen is all the primer's going to fill in where that crack was at, and then we sand it, it'll come back down, and it'll sit flat, and you'll never know that crack was there. So I'll get that going. I have decided to glue the doors on. I'm just not sure how I'm going to do them yet. I have a couple of reasons why I don't want to spray them yet. But anyway, I'll figure that out, and then we'll come back and I'll get that sanded down, and we'll come back and put the doors on, and I guess that's going to be it. We'll get that thing ready for paint. Alright, so I got the driver's door on. I don't want this video to be 8 hours long, so I'm just going to explain what I did instead of show it. It's a little tedious. Come in, I glued the door onto the body across the top first. Then I glued it onto the firewall. Here, I'll flip it over, show you this side. So I glued it along the top first, and then glued it along the firewall, and then came in and glued the back of the body to it, because that body's kind of tucked in. So you can see how the door stands out a little bit when you glue it on there, which is fine. That doesn't need to be adjusted. That just needs to come out. So anyway, so that's what I did, and it's fine. It's a little proud on the bottom, but I can sand that down a little bit and make it a little better. I'm not too worried about it. Then I came in and did the bottom and top hinges, and then did the part that glues onto the body. It's actually a two-piece. The door hinge on the door and the body, the door hinge on the body. So I just put those in, just glued them solid, and then did that center one, which is actually it's not a hinge, it just looks like one. It's kind of funny. But anyway, so that's that. Next up, we'll do the passenger side door the same way, and then just a little bit of cleanup. Like I said, I want to sand that a little bit. There's a couple of fingerprints that I got a little bit of glue under the door, got some fingerprints on it. I want to clean up that edge a little bit. Yeah, just stuff like that. I'll get that all taken care of off camera. That's looking really good. We'll come back and we'll sand over that again. And yeah, we'll be almost ready to paint that thing. So yeah, so we'll be ready to paint that thing. Like I said, the dash is already in paint. So once we get the body prepped and ready, we'll take the body over to paint, and then we'll bring the dash back and detail that out. It's actually got some pretty cool stuff going on. So I'll get this other door finished and get that thing ready for paint, and when I come back, we'll have the dash and we'll be working on that. Alright, so we got the body in the paint. While we're waiting for that to dry, we got the dash out of paint. It's looking really good. That's just BL4 with some of my enamel hardener in it. Went over it real good, made sure it was shiny. Turned out perfect. Let it sit for a couple of days so it wouldn't soak up any fingerprints. When I used it, you can see how it's just staying shiny. It looks really good. I prepped out a couple of pieces. We are going to be doing this here for right now. Just the dash, the instrument cluster, and then these two brackets that hold these two pieces together. That holds the steering wheel in, and that's your choke mixture valve, I guess. I looked them up online. I'm not 100% sure what they did, but I got a real good look at them, so I know what they look like at least. Yeah, with the model, sometimes that's good enough for you. So we're going to start with the steering wheel. Okay. Okay, so there's that. And then on the dash, the spot, there's a, I don't know if you notice this or not, but it has that top piece where it's got looks like little knobs, look like little lights, knobs, I guess. And then the bottom piece is just smooth. That smooth part needs to go down. Or at least that's how they have it drawn on the instructions, and I'm just following those. Get the glue in there real good. Now I looked these up on the dash for the gauge panel here, and it is just black gauges with the chrome face, so that's it. I mean, that's all you need. And then this actually has to come down at kind of an angle, so I left that little nub on it. Okay. Now on the instructions it's a little confusing because it says E5 and it looks like it goes down here, but then it says E5 and it goes there. That's actually where it goes. This just sticks through it and it drops down to the edge of the firewall right here, kind of down into the footwell. Because in real life it goes through the firewall and it runs the cable to the carburetor. So you just got to make sure you get it on there right. So what I did was I actually came through and drilled it out a little bit bigger than I needed it, so there's a little bit of play in it. So when I do glue it on, if it's not 100% correct, at least it'll be flexible enough to move and kind of fake it, I guess. And, you know, sometimes that's what you got to do. You know, you're trying to get it to go together as best you can. And they show a mounting point on here, but I don't know where it goes. On the real cars, they go just under the dash right here, just like that. Okay, and then I actually have the part that goes through it right here, so it's just this, and then that'll just crap, and then that'll just stick through it and it just sticks out like so. So that's all that is. So we can mark off those, and then when the car comes back from paint, we'll come back in, we'll do the interior pieces and the 3 pieces of glass, and then those and that, and then we'll do all the pedals. Actually, so when the car comes back from paint and I get all the detail stuff done on it, we'll do all this and we'll do all this, and then I gotta glue this stuff on, and I already did the doors, so I'll have to do all the interior door stuff. I really want to get it to the point where I could put the body on the car, and I think that's where we're going to stop this episode. But that won't happen until we get the paint back. That won't happen until we get the car back from paint. So just give me a little bit, and we should be doing that here shortly. Okay, so we got this back from paint. It's looking really good. That color looks so good on there. Did the top in flat black. Looks like the vinyl they used to use. Painted all the inside in black. We got to put the interior and stuff in. One thing I did do off camera, because it was a huge pain in the butt, was I put the pedals in. Yeah, you can see them. You got the two chromed out ones here, and then you got the 2 black ones here. There and there. So I got those in. That took a little bit of time, a lot of patience. But now we're ready to put the dash in. So the dash is done. We've got the hoop where the steering wheel goes through, and then we've got the bracket that holds the choke in place, and we got the dash in. So, we got the center dash where the gauges go. We got those in. So we just got to put this in the car. That's where I'm going to start. And so as always, use just a Pepsi cap, a little dab of glue, and figure out where we need to put our glue. So this butts up against the dash on the car, and then that pushes up against under the dash on the car. So that's where the glue is going to go, obviously. Just a little bit. So you don't need to glob this stuff on. Okay. And then just come in and push that in. Basically all you're trying to do is get it to push as far forward and as far up as you can get it to go. There we go. There we go. So just hold that for a second so it's clamped in there. Haha! There we go. Look how good that looks. I know you can't really see that. Okay. Okay, perfect. So now we've got to thread this piece in. To be honest, I'm kind of wondering if this would have been worth the while to try to this is a huge pain, to be honest. I'm not sure if it would have been better to do it. Sorry, I'm trying to figure this out while I'm working. Honestly, I'm not sure if that was worth doing the way I did it. I know that the body was broken and stuff, and I used a lot of and I had to use the firewall to kind of put a lot of that stuff back together. But holy cow, this thing's just kind of a huge pain. And now I don't know why that's not going in. There we go. Okay. Let me roll that out a little bit. And we'll put a little drop of glue right on the end of that. Okay. And then we'll come back in. We'll just thread that straight down. There we go. If you can see that or not. Yeah, you can. That looks good. Okay, perfect. Okay, so the dash is in. So that would be all of these parts here. Okay, so glass is going to go on in a little bit. I actually already glued those in. And that, because you can't... I mean, you can see that you can't see what's going on in here. So, so that brings us up to here. Okay. Luckily, this is a little bit easier to see. There's a... You can see it right there. There's a line right there. And that's where these butt up against. So that literally just glues in like that. It's that easy. So I'm just going to show you the one side, and then I'll finish the other side off on my own. It's really easy. Again, you don't need to glob the glue on here. It'll work. Okay. Just up against the driver's door, right there. And then just as high up as it'll go. Okay, well now of course it's giving me trouble. I don't know why. Other than I'm trying to film it. I've actually been messing around with this for a couple of days and haven't had any issues with it at all. And now of course all of a sudden it wants to start to fight me. Guess it could have just been the way I set it in there, because now it seems to be fine. So we'll just clamp that and come back to that in a second. Okay, so I got that panel in. It was kind of a fight, but I got it in. Did the other side too. I know a lot of you are asking about this. And yes, on the instructions it shows a window crank handle. And those go right there. But on my kit, the handles, the two window crank handles were broken. And so I decided that you probably wouldn't see them that well in the back of it. You'd see them more on the door. So I modified the two handles that was left into the window crank handles. So I just add a little piece of styrene to the top of them there. Just right there. Just super glued it in place and then just multi-chromed all over it to make the door panels. So those look really good. Those go in the same way as the other back panels. So I don't know if you guys really need to see that or not. Just the handle faces back. And then again, the top edge of this glues on the bottom edge of that. So it just goes in. They just go in just like that. So there you go. It's a little bit of fitting. They'll be fine. So anyway, that's the way those go in. So up next is the glass. And that's kind of interesting because this corner here isn't as sharp as these other three. So when you look at it, you got to find that edge on there. And then they just press in from the outside. So because I used 2K clear on this, the window frames are a little bit small. So I'm gonna have to adjust that and get that put in. But anyway, that's how they go in. Same deal with the windshield. which I've already messed with a little bit, and I know it'll go in with no problem. So we'll pop that in. I'll show you what I'm talking about. And of course the glue's not going to work. There we go. Okay. It's like always, just go all the way around the frame. Since this presses in, you don't really need to get a lot on there either. Okay, so let that sit for just a second. And then the glass on this was bad. It was pretty hazy. I had to come in and polish all those panes of glass out. But we got it done. They look pretty clear. They're not super great, but they're okay. Now what I like to do with my windows is come back in and just cover the edge of them with some magic marker. I use black. I know some guys use green, some guys use blue. Doesn't matter. It makes it look good. It's all in what you like. There we go. Ha. Okay. And then you just gotta carefully come in and pop this in. Okay, that looks great. We'll come in and clean that up in a little bit. So that's how the windows go in. I'll do the rest of them. Like I said, I'll throw the door panel in and stuff too. And then we'll come back and we will probably be working on, let's see. Yeah, and then we'll get the door panels, and I'm not putting the windows in the door. I'm gonna leave them so they look like they're rolled down. So I already got that taken off. I fixed that. I'm not putting that window in either. So it looks like the only thing we really have left is the door panels, the windows, and the steering wheel, and this chrome fairing here before we put the hood on. So, like I said, I'll come back and we'll work on that stuff, and then we'll get ready to glue this thing on the body. All right, so we got the glass in. Look at that. Got the back window in, and then got the side panel in, and all the interior stuff's in, of course. Looking good, huh? The top needs to be cleaned off a little bit. But first, we are going to put the steering wheel together because that's where we're at. We need that done to put it onto the body. So, just a little bit of glue right here. Actually, I'm looking at that and that doesn't look... Huh, that was weird. A little bit of paint got globbed on the end there. So just a little dab of glue on that very end piece. Oops. Actually, that works pretty good. We can just start it that way. All right. Okay, so that's in. Then the steering wheel itself. And it looks like that's going to kind of offset from the spokes there, so that's cool. So we'll do a little bit of glue there, and then again a little bit on the shaft of the steering column. Look at that. And then last piece is the center. What is this? I believe that is the it's either the idle control or it's your spark advance. Anyway, all of these control how the timing and stuff on the motor works. It's pretty interesting. I'm no Model A expert, as I keep saying, but I did read up on them, and they're pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting stuff. And that should sit just off center there. Yep. Just like that. And then that should be chrome. And done and done. Okay, cool. Then that just feeds in through the dash mount. And then pops out through the hole in the floor, or the hole in the firewall. And then we'll just push that back when we put it into the body, and then that's going to drop down onto the steering box on the frame. So let me double check this. So we're done with all the door stuff. Done with that. We still need to do that, but I can do that on the body. Or I mean, when it's on the chassis, I can put that on. And then all that's the interior stuff. So yeah, we are ready to put this thing on the body. So let's get to that step. Actually, let me clean this up a little bit first. It is one of the small problems of working with big kits, is if you don't have a lot of room to work on them, you don't have any room at all. But we're fine here. So let me go grab the chassis and we'll get the body on. Okay. Got the chassis. That, of course, is looking good. Got the body. Okay. Ow. It's not what I wanted to have happen. Let's redo the part we just did. Okay, so looks like I just need glue around the arches and then all the way along the frame here, and that'll be that. Okay, and that just, I don't need to worry about that right now. Okay. So yeah, just glue work. Not much to these actually. The assembly is very, very easy. Super straightforward. Okay. 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 Pick that up off of the desk so I'm not pressing down on all those suspension parts. Yeah, I know, you just saw that pop out of there. And that. Okay. There we go. Ha! Okay, that looks good under there. Those look good right there. Okay. Let me pull that all the way back. Make sure that's right where I want it to be, which it is. Okay. Oh, look at that. Look how good that looks. That color even looks good on camera. I like that. Okay. Whew. That actually went a lot better than I thought it would. I know this popped out, which is no problem. I can glue it back in. And then this is definitely no problem. So I'll do those because I already showed you those once before. And then we'll move on to the radiator and all the supports and the hoses and stuff that go on with that. And then once we get all those in, we'll be done with this episode. So I'll be back in just a second. Okay, So that's looking really good. I'm really happy with how that car is turning out. Now, before we do anything else, we got to put this piece in, and then that coil piece in, and we'll be on it. And I just realized that the coil, where the coil goes on the dash, on the firewall, I mean, the hole isn't there. I never noticed that before. It's fine. I know I can fix it real easy, but I just wasn't expecting to have that be the one thing that I was gonna end up having to mess with right now. No big deal. Okay, I don't need nearly that much glue on there. Okay, there's that. And you just saw me test fit that, so you know it's going to just drop right in now. Okay, so there's that. So let's grab this. And let's see. Okay, this looks good to me. It's a bit bigger than I probably need. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Actually, that one looks super close. Okay. Get that in here. And it just kind of goes right in the center of the firewall right there. Actually, I know you can't see it on the camera, but in person there's a little bit of a divot where it should go. You can see it in the firewall under the pane. I don't quite know why that didn't come out right. Okay. Okay. And then, like always, we'll just test fit it real quick. Yep, drops right in there. Perfect, perfect. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, models, what can you do? Some of them do weird things like that sometimes. It's, you know, can't expect it to be 100% out of the box. So, you know, no big deal. Nothing to worry about. Okay, get that down in there. Get that right there. Okay, look at that. That is good. Okay. Okay, so next up we have to double check a couple of things first before we start moving on. Because we have these two holes in the firewall here. Yeah, and they match up to the pins on these pieces. Yep. Okay. And then these run all the way down. They're just these little keepers here. And they run all the way down to here. Okay. So that's done there. So let me set this aside and let me clean this up. And then I will come back and we'll put the radiator hoses on. I'll show you how I painted those up, and then we'll get the radiator hoses glued onto the radiator, and then we'll get the radiator in, and we'll pretty much be done with this thing for this video. Okay, this is it. This is the last bit we have to do for this episode. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out by putting this on. I already glued the lenses in, the little light lenses in. I didn't think anybody really needed to see me do those. If you're super interested in how I did them, I don't know, leave a comment. You're kind of going to see how I did them when I do the headlights in the next episode, so that'll give you something to look forward to there. Okay, we're just trying to put a tiny bit of super glue on there without getting it all over like I just did. Okay. I'm gonna come back in, just get the tip of that. Put it right along there. Okay. Hang that on there. It's one of those things you need like 4 or 5 hands to really get it set in there properly. But there we go, we got her on. I noticed that super glue, I don't know if it's old or what, but it really seems to like when you kind of blow on it a little bit. Just weird. But that's cool. Okay, so we're done with that, which leaves us the 2 radiator hoses. So what I did was, this radiator is just our black super primer. That's all I did to it. So on the radiator hoses, I did the end that's going to connect to the radiator in this super primer. So I just super primered them black, and then I masked that off, and then I sprayed our tire black for the hoses, so it looks like rubber. Same thing I did on the running boards, and then I painted the rest of the hoses wherever they go. I painted those gloss black, and then I ran a silver over the hose clamps. So that's all those are. It was easy enough. I mean, not a real brain teaser, just real quick paint work. So then that's going to glue in just like that, and then this one is going to glue in. And I have messed with this about 30 times now, and this really is the best way I found to do the radiator. So we'll dab of glue there. And then that's going to go right there. Okay. And then grab this, and we're going to do the same thing on the engine block. So I don't know if you can see it or not. There's the hole right there. And that's where the lower hose goes, and then of course right on the top of the water pumps where the upper hose goes. Okay, now do have to kind of work this have to Work that in there. And there we go. And then the upper hose pushes down in. That pushes in. There we go. And just like that. Okay. So happy with that. So now we have to put a dot of glue right here and a dot of glue right there. Okay. Now we're going to take these and we're going to put the glue on this end here, because this is going to go on to the radiator. And then I found the easiest way to do these is just to slide that right over and click, just like that. Push that back in, done and done. Okay. And then again, exactly the same way here. Okay, and then up and in. Okay, and that's nice and square in the opening. It's nice and square to the car. So there we go. And then if you want to double check it and make sure everything looks really good. Oh yeah, look at that. The hood's going to go right on there. Oh, that's going to look beautiful. All right. I don't know. Maybe I should just leave it like that. Anyway, so that's it for this video. Next one, we'll finish off the hood and we'll do all the rest of the chrome and then the car will be done. I'm looking forward to getting this one finished up. It is turning out so nice. I'm really getting excited about it. So anyway, thank you for watching. If you use code ScaleFinishes10 at scalefinishes.com, you get 10% off House of Colors, regular colors, Model A colors, anything you want. We got liquid green mask, we got glue, we do flocking, interior colors, you name it. We got colors for you. So thanks for watching and I'll see you on the next one.